clean and enjoy all food and beverages in the cafe area. Please be courteous and silence your cell phones before the program begins. In the event of an emergency, there are 2 additional exits. There's one emergency exit there, and then our stage door on the left. These doors are only to be used for an emergency. If you just have to leave, please use that door. Any questions about accessibility or to request accommodations, please contact our administration 72 hours before a program to let us provide a seamless access. After today's program, you can tell us what you thought by filling out a program survey, and also Catch is having their own program survey, so if you're only going to fill out one, please fill out theirs and let them know what you want to see next time. And you might have noticed on some of the arms of the chairs are names. You can show your support for the library by purchasing a custom recognition plaque for an auditorium chair through Make Your Mark, Name a Seat, Northbrook Library Foundation Sponsorship Program. Wow, that's a mouthful. Proceeds from the Northbrook Public Library Foundation support library programs and initiatives. For more information, you can visit our website or our administration office. And to provide you with a better experience, we recommend you reserve a spot online or by phone or here in the library prior to the program. I know a lot of you did. Good job, you. You can still obviously come into programs if we have spots available. Just know that sometimes our programs in the auditorium do fill. So those are all the official things, and I just want to drop in one last thing since you seem like people who might know teens. The Northbrook Youth Film Festival we are in the season of it. Submissions for teen films are due November 5th, which is not this Monday coming up, but the following one. So 2 weekends away is the submission deadline, and then on Tuesday, November 13th, we'll be having our Youth Film Festival here. So we definitely encourage you to encourage the teens in your lives to submit their films, and even if they don't, we encourage you to come out and support all of our teen filmmakers in the area. So now I'm going to hand it over to Amy Overholzer. There we go, Overholzer.
So it is my great pleasure to welcome you to Catch. I'm Amy Overholzer. For those of you who do not know me, my husband Will and I live in Northbrook. I'm an assistant first grade teacher at Westmore, and I have 2 kids, both seniors this year. My son is a senior in college, and my daughter in high school. I want to thank you very much for coming to be a part of Catch's first parent education event. We have brought together a wonderful panel of mental health experts who have graciously given of their time tonight because they, like we, believe that learning and talking about our children's emotional health is vitally important to their overall well-being. Before we get started, allow me to just share with you a brief history of Catch. It was born of a small group of us that shared a concern for our children in today's environment. It was born after my daughter began her work on recovery from a severe eating disorder, triggered by anxiety and depression that she hid deeply and well from us and from everyone. Catch was born in part because when my family and I discovered that we were not alone in our suffering, I knew that our community could do better by our kids. The group of people that have allowed Catch to take hold are passionate and dedicated. They are you and I, and you are we. Talking, learning, and being aware of our children's overall well-being has lit a fire in all of us for whom Catch has become a priority. We are working to see our kids grow up emotionally healthy and whole, and to ensure that when they are not that, they are supported fully at school, at home, and throughout our community. We are really glad that you have joined us. So let's get to it. There's no disputing that anxiety and depression are on the rise amongst youth, and our community is not immune to that trend. Parenting today is different than it was even 10 years ago, and we can't ignore that. The toll that our fast-paced, highly stressed, fully connected life can take on our kids' well-being And truthfully, their physical and mental health is enormous. But we can choose to be mindful of all that. We can learn and talk and be knowledgeable of it so that we are purposeful about our parenting decisions and true to our core values as parents. You've taken a step toward allowing our community's kids a childhood free of anxiety, depression, and fear, and full of hope, trust, risk, and truth. That's a tall order, to be sure. But together with each other, our schools, and our community organizations, it can happen. It is our hope that you will take some of what you learn or feel tonight and share it with your Mom's Night Out friends, your play groups, your book groups, your golf foursomes. It's our hope that you might read an article you might not have read before, or that you will talk to your children equipped with some new tools or insights that are valuable to you. I'm learning a lot on this parenting journey, and I know that stepping off the gas has allowed me to truly see the sights that are my kids, enough as they are. After the panelists speak tonight, we'll hold a question and answer conversation about the topics presented and more. If you would rather ask a question anonymously, please use the index cards that we provided in your programs tonight. And it would also really help us out tremendously if you could complete the short survey that we've included in your programs. So thanks again for coming, and let's get to it. Excuse my technology our first panelist this evening is Brooke Fox. Brooke is a licensed social worker, and she's the co-owner of Fox Levine and Associates, located in Northbrook. Brooke sees adolescents and adults and sees herself as a kitchen sink therapist, treating a large gamut of mental health issues, including bipolar, anxiety, depression, as well as trauma and addictions. Brooke has a client-centered, compassionate approach and helps her clients to access their resilience and navigate their world more confidently. Brooke is also the mother of 2 teenage girls, 14 and 17, and believes in embracing our children for who they are and teaching them self-acceptance by letting our kids know that they are enough. She also happens to be a very bright light in my life personally, and I am grateful for her every day.
So I'm going to start by, I have a bootleg version of it, so you'll have to, you'll have to be kind about it. But my daughter is at a local North Shore high school and participated in a show where it was student written, directed, composed, and produced. And I'm sitting there watching this speech, or watching this skit, and I was like, like big, huge moment, epiphany. And I thought, gosh, I really want to share this with people. And I don't know if anybody else saw what I saw, but I'm interested and anxious to see if you do. So bear with, like I said, the bootleg version, and take a look.
More power the other day, it's gonna really help. We're gonna just breathe in, smell the roses. All of that bad energy, just let it go. It's gone, out into the air. Try one more time, okay? That feels nice.
Darling, I don't live at all. Did you see the look on his face when he gave him our info?
Honey, just calm down. The doctor will be in just a moment to give us the results. And besides, whatever happens, we can work through it together.
What if it's too late? What if we didn't catch it soon enough?
Honey, just wait and see what the doctor says.
Okay, well,
We're all not letting it. We all know don't die.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, doctor.
I have the results of the checkup right here.
Cut the medical jargon, Doc. Just give it to us straight. What's the news?
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's not good. Your son will need to receive a 104.33% on his final exam to get an A in biology.
Oh my God. It can't be. I don't believe it. How did this happen?
Well, according to Mrs. Sharp, your son has a 91% in class and a final with 15% of his grade, so the results concluded that
No. This is not. call that hope. We don't need hope, we need a miracle. The highest we can get is 100.
It's all right, we can work through it together.
Do you know what this means? This means Biff won't live to become the ambassador to Iran and save the world. Now the atmosphere the graduates are state schools. Oh God, or I'll be an accountant. An accountant!
Listen to him! Damn it!
Oh!
Larry, so we can work together. We can try one more time and everything. I don't let it go. Okay, down there. Okay. So, where do we go from here?
Well, there was still some hope for agreement. Before the exam, some teachers occasionally dropped lows quiz grade, which could lower the needed score, and there have been some cases in the past where the patient has been given extra credit opportunities.
Okay.
So, what's the plan of attack? How can we beat this?
Well, unfortunately, seeing as we diagnosed the A- in later stages, I would recommend a combined regimen of cramming, rounding up students, and bribery. However, you mustn't give up the hope of going to bed for the next week. You will lose all dignity in the teacher's eyes.
He has no dignity, not with that grade anyway. What are the success rates for this treatment?
Well, it all depends on the student's grit and the teacher's mood. Some patients have had a miraculous recovery, you reach a 94. However, some don't. I've seen patients who have received 92.4s on the final report card.
Well, although it may look bleak, it's nice to know that we have options.
Now, that's a nice way of looking at it. Are you ready for the upcoming work, young man?
He's fighting. He's ready for anything. He can do anything. You hear me? He's my son. He's going to create world peace.
By becoming the ambassador to Iran.
It's only the beginning. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. Look here, man.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's not good.
Oh no.
Your daughter has bubonic plague.
I'm going to
So it looks like you were struck too. And I do want to go back and remind you that this was student-ridden. So our kids feel it. More than that, they kind of were making fun of us a little bit in the audience, and I felt like it was a clear message to us parents that our kids would rather have the bubonic plague than get an A- in biology. That just struck me. They not only do they understand what the detriments of this message are, which is why they wanted to show everybody at their play. They are suffering a plague of their own, well, not the bubonic, thank God. Their plague is anxiety and depression, and those plagues lead to these maladaptive behaviors of substance abuse, eating disorders, suicidality, which is now the second leading cause of death in teenagers. And as I'm talking with my 17-year-old daughter about the talk I had tonight, she said, well, where do we intervene? At the school? With the kids? With the parents? And I don't know the answer, but I do know I've got a room full of parents, and I think there are some places we can help them so that they're okay with an A-. They're okay with a C. I'll get to that in a few minutes. As I also want to say that I am a recovering, achievement-oriented parent. So I am not coming to you on high as a therapist, although that too a little bit, I do have some experience professionally. As a parent, I also was pushing the results. But what I found out is my kid wasn't happy. So oftentimes we hear other parents, or maybe us, say things like, oh, she puts so much pressure on herself, and she needs to just relax. Well, believe it or not, these phrases are actually damaging. It lays the responsibility of this crazy world at their feet, like it's their problem, like they're the ones that need to just not put so much pressure on themselves and just relax. Well, the world has gone plumb crazy, and all the schools, all the colleges, it's all achieve, achieve, achieve. So they live in that society, and when we say things like that, it's just letting us as parents off the hook. Okay, so that would be kind of a first place to start for me. The other part is that the research is showing us that this term called child contingent self-esteem is where we get into trouble with our kids. It's a phenomenon that researchers have actually developed a term for, again, child contingent self-esteem, when the parent actually bases their own self-worth on the successes of their child. And we see this all the time, whether it be academics, although that's the big one, music, athletics, and we are getting private coaches, we are getting a million lessons, and by the way, I've had all of it, so I'm not in judgment of any of it, okay? But putting our own kind of self-worth on them, on the pressure on them to have to fulfill our dreams, is the kind of perfectionism that is going to lead to anxiety and depression. So I get into this perfectionism part. And I read a study in the Journal of Psychological Bulletin the other day. I was just perusing. And they define kind of two different kinds of perfectionism. One is called self-oriented perfectionism, which is the high standards and expectations our kids put on themselves through society and culture. And that is dangerous, and it leads to burnout. But the real anxiety, depression, and other maladaptive behaviors we see is with a more dangerous form of perfectionism that we call other-oriented perfectionism. And it's when others have high standards and expectations and then treat our kids with anger and disdain and disgust when they don't reach these standards. And to me, that is the most dangerous form, and actually the study is showing that as well. That's the 33% increase in this kind of perfectionism we're talking about. Again, it's called other-oriented perfectionism. I never heard of it until I did a little research. They feel the need to be perfect for the world. Parents, school, social media, that's a whole talk in and of itself. The social media pressures, the likes, the perfect image. And if they fall short, they're harshly criticized or judged by these same entities. School, you're not enough. Parents, why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you studying more? Where is that A? Where is that A? You better get the A. And then that leads to feelings of internal shame. And shame is the boogeyman. That's where we find our most problematic anxiety and depression roots. And that also is what leads to these pathological sort of behaviors we had been talking about earlier. Problems sleeping, problems eating, suicidality, substance abuse. That's all so that they can medicate the shame that they feel, okay? So, to me, that is where we need to be helping our children. Their own high expectations in the worlds and societies, we can help them cope. We don't have to add to it at all. We can just embrace them. So I added this kind of last minute tonight and thought about it. I think sometimes, I called it our own kick at the can. My husband always says that. We had our kick at the can, and he's right. As adults, we've had our chance for opportunity and success and achievement, and in some ways we still cannot do that. And we're all relatively okay, right? I mean, We're not Lady Gaga, you know, and Bradley Cooper. I'm obsessed with Star is Born right now. I cannot stop thinking about it or listening to it. So maybe we didn't know these dreams of fame and fortune haven't come to fruition. But really, if we sit in ourselves for a minute and look around and feel, we all are leading to some extent a meaningful life. And if we're not leading a meaningful life, then we better figure out how to do that. Because we put that meaning into our kids, and it's their job to give us a meaningful life. And again, is that other-oriented perfectionism. So, you know, I often spend some time thinking about that. Like, am I leading a meaningful life? Am I putting this on my kids to do for me? And sometimes the answer is yes, and then I have to really reassess. But it's okay if we are. Let's just stop, and let's just kind of find our own true meaning. And further, let's have a shout out to average. C's, B minuses. Like, it's great. The world is run by C students. And you know, and sometimes they just want to feel joy. Our kids aren't feeling joy. And that makes me very sad, like a little choked up sad. And teaching them to do things because it's fun, or it's joyful, or they feel passionate, not outcome-based, not if they got all the playing time they wanted on the field, or not if they made the highest team, but not worry about the outcomes. Just embrace it because they love it, and let's build them up. Let's help them embrace not just their strengths, but their vulnerabilities too. And let them know it's okay to fail and try again. Failing is also very important. And that we accept their failure and help them learn to accept their failure. Because self-acceptance is the gift we can give to our kids. So I do want to leave you with just a couple little tidbits so you're not like, okay, I got nothing out of that. And so here are, just a couple strategies just to walk away with. Might be helpful. Stop using the words relax or you put too much pressure on yourself. Because they really don't think that you understand when you say that. I'm just going to kind of say, it's so hard right now to feel like anyone is successful enough